All right. All right. Thank you for joining this webinar. We will take you through the storyline around Cloud ERP um, and Salesforce and Financial Force and how the HR module is sitting within this whole ecosystem. Um, um, Overall, we have a pretty precise planning, short introduction, and we touch base on what is Cloud ERP based on Salesforce Financial Force, then the HR specific module, and then living on Salesforce Financial Force and how that integrates based on the employee. Then we do a short demonstration and we will finish with the questions and answers. All right. Let me check now. So maybe Salesforce is a well-known company for many of you who joined the webinar. Financial Force may be less of a known organization. It's the largest ISV partner for Salesforce, and they actually developed a complete cloud ERP solution. So that means that we have all the modules at hand to make a success out of what we call cloud ERP, connecting to all other your business processes. Now, then talking about Cloudteam. So what we actually did, we started ourselves in 2014 as a specialist in cloud ERP implementations, and by doing so, we have now developed ourselves as a Salesforce partner, Financial Force partner, 100% employee partner, and we are building custom apps to make sure that we can actually localize, especially in Europe, and localize the implementations to make those a success. And we got 2 offices in the Netherlands and the UK, and in that way we can serve the whole EMEA region. The group of people that we have it's a true international team coming from all over the world, working together, and that also gives kind of the spirit to our culture and how we are able to work with our clients also in an international setting very easily. Well, the project that we realize, if we talk about Cloud ERP, it's comprised a lot of modules. As you can see here, we implemented a lot of those modules, sometimes one by one, sometimes in one big project altogether. And we see really the momentum now kicking in, that more and more customers are going into this digital transformation journey, and then on one platform, making sure that you can really have your 360 insights on your customer. Yes, what we already wanted for the past 20 years, I would say. Now, the service that we deliver, it's a wide variety of services, from the original Financial Force modules down to Einstein, which is the whole predictive analysis, employee the HR module, but also business process optimizations like revenue recognition or quote to cash. Well, if we then touch base on let's say the cloud ERP part of Salesforce Financial Force. Now, why is this so unique? It is really combining, let's say, all the modules that are living on the platform, on the Salesforce platform, knitting those all together and making sure you have a really working business process left to right. And so from your CRM part, and many customers, they started with CRM, down to your quoting, your ordering, supply chain management, if that is applicable, down to your professional services, automation, which in many cases is still a manual effort for a lot of customers that we see. Down to, let's say, your billing part, your financial management, and of course your HR, your human capital management, is now getting more and more important in this war on talent. And you have to, let's say, see this all as one big system that can actually work together and give you all the insights that you need to run your business. All right. So then if we talk about the HR module specifically, so it is built up, you could say, really from scratch, serving truly what you need as a company to run your HR business. It's an enormous field of complexity. It can be, especially if it's not integrated in your full landscape, and that's why we all said together we have to do it in a different way. We have to onboard people in a different way. We have to retain people in a different way, and then also, let's say, and we talked then about the whole life cycle management of an employee. We can bring this to a new standard, and that's actually what we did together. So Like I said, the employee lifecycle management, and that's what this is all about. It's about from the start in finding your talents, and then how you engage in onboarding those talents through, let's say, your um, talent performance management down to also that people will leave your organization. It all needs to be orchestrated in a decent way and in a control way. So if you would visualize it like this, you could see there's a war on talent. So you have to be, let's say, fast. You have to be precise. There's also what your new recruits will expect from you, or at least it will give you the ability to do an outstanding job in their opinion. But also then through your complete onboarding, your development, your talent management, how do you retain your employees? So how well are you able to put them on the right projects, give them the right promotions, down to the moment where they will also, let's say, leave your company? That will also happen. Everything needs to be orchestrated in the right way. Now, the good thing about employee is it's an enormous, powerful module, and how we serve our clients. And we will not, let's say, provide all those functionalities at once to you. Some of those might not be applicable for your type of business. So it's all built up around 200 microservices, which we can really, let's say, step by step implement. So it truly, let's say, fuels your ambition and can really create, um, let's say, the solution that you are looking for, and then also continuing after the first deployment. Now we have customers who actually now claim that they saw a tremendous reduction in their time needed to hire new people. And because of the fact that the processes are digitized, uh, working together, people can collaborate easily in your organization, etc. Now, also with your talent development, as we've seen, it's so powerful to request your customers what they think of, let's say, your personnel. So sending out surveys, making sure that that feedback is incorporated in your, let's say, yearly talks and evaluations with your personnel. So everything that can really, let's say, give a better foundation to, let's say, your evaluation periods with your employees, and they will then also see, let's say, the new way of how data is collected and how those annual review meetings will go to a higher standard than ever before. Now, if we talk about the topic of time and absence management, is also something that needs to be, let's say, like an Uber experience. It should be simple. It should be easy, and that's exactly what employee can deliver towards your employees. Online, mobile, any direction is possible to do what they need to do. And together with, let's say, the management part of your organization, through the self-service capability, that you have the possibility to bring it all together. Now, let's say with all your processes in place, with all the data that you will actually get into your system, then it's also about artificial intelligence and your business intelligence. So, what type of reports could you pull out of your system? What type of insights will it give you? So that's what we see, the new way of steering your organization, and then specifically in your HR part. So how do people perform? They were promoted. Are they indeed and also successful in their new level in client projects, for instance? Um, Now here you see now kicking in the uses of Einstein, which is the predictive analysis that you can get out of your system if you have it implemented in the way that we would like to do with you. Now, then the last slide on the slide part before we move into the demo part. So where employee integrates with Financial Force, a couple of items. We will not go in detail here, but a couple of items make it very specific. Now, one is that once an employee becomes available as a resource, your hiring was done, it automatically becomes part of your resource pool in your PSA module. So this here where you can see how HR works together with your PSA module, which is your professional services automation module. Now, that's of course very handy if you have a lot of projects kicking in and you want those recruits to be and to be visible in your resource pool as quickly as possible. But also, if employees take time off, for instance, you also want to let's say pull them out of your resource pool. They are not available, and that is the automated orchestration what takes place in the backend part. Now, the other way around, if you are selling a lot of projects and you are successful, you already in your, let's say, sales opportunity management phase, you can fire off your resource requests, and they will then automatically also lead to a job creation and posting. So your whole recruitment part will, in that way, run together with how you are successful in getting more business in. And that's obviously something that will give you more ability to grow even quicker if you have the orchestration of resourcing and business and your funnel management in one hand. Now, then also going back to the finance part of Financial Force, obviously with everything around your employee, also paying out of the reimbursement of the employee. The finance module FFA is then also working seamlessly together with your PSA module and your HR module. So in this case, as an example, if you would have a project running, expenses filled in by employee, there will be billable or non-billable on those projects, and it will be handled by PSA. If it needs to be reimbursed, it will be handled via the FFA module. Also, if it needs to be reimbursed or, let's say, paid by the customer, an invoice will be sent out via the FFA module to the customer. So there you can see really how everything can and will work together. And in our ambition, it will lead to your digital transformation and bringing you the business success as you will be looking for. All right. So that gives me and brings me down to the short demo. So and then I will stop presenting my screen and I will give the floor to Roel. So Roel.
Everybody can hear me now, and I will start sharing my screen. Which everybody can see now?
Yes.
Perfect. So, thank you, Tejan. Where I'm going to start, we're going to touch 4 points in employee. So I'm going to start with the recruiting ATS part and how that works to onboarding from an employee file and where we can serve your company from there. First, I will start with the vacancies. A vacancy can be an employee, and vacancy is related to or a project or a position in your company. So we have a different account here. In that account, we have the requirements, which is pulled out from the position, and we have all the information in here on compensation, location, and what we want to show. From here, we go to the related list so we can see directly how many job applications were on this vacancy already, where we post this vacancy. And if we post this vacancy, we can post this vacancy directly to your website. So you can see, for example, the vacancy here. All the information here is directly coming out of employee, where people can start in their job application and come into their own candidate profile. So back to my vacancy. When we have the vacancy posted and the candidates come in, the job applications will be created. So when we go to the job applications, we can see directly where the information, when the candidate came in, if there are interviews scheduled with him, the notes and attachments he left on the website, when the job application was posted, when he came in, and we can go to the candidate summary, where we have short information about his profile, and the details how we can contact them. Of course, everything is 100% built on the force.com platform, so we have the activity based on every module of every object in employee. When the job application moves on, we have a process where we can see directly in the job application, in the candidate, Oliver, where he's available, if he's available, where his time on date and on time, and we can have an overview of his languages, education, if we had matches before on other projects, employment history, interviews we've done before, candidate pools, the skills, so we know everything about this candidate, so we can make sure we can have a match. If we have a match, we will see this match in employee on the project, and this project will be communicated to PSA. So here we have a match management module, which I opened in my demo. And in this match management, we have the registered candidates, but we also have our internal employees, so we can manage the bench. So we have the matches where we can say, okay, interview him, place him, or assign him. So it will be communicated, the person will be onboarded. We can reject him. So we have the way to reject the person directly, send them an email or schedule the email, so you can reject them after the weekend. And we have the job applications. These are the persons where we don't have any history or agreements with. So if we want this person, we can match him to the match management tool, and we can start doing the onboarding procedures from there. We have the process bar where we can see exactly where the onboarding for a project is. So if the person is there, we can hire him. And if we hire the person, we can change him from candidate to employee. And when we do that, a lot of processes are being done, but Oliver will be in our company. His candidate file will be transferred to an employee file, and a resource will be created in PSA, and we can manage all the other useful stuff which we need to do with an employee. So we have the jobs, we can see in which assignments we placed in, absence request, HR contracts, salary, properties, employee balances, company cars, benefits, performance, so end year, mid-year, training, family members, which we need to communicate to pension information, distance, expenses, and if he is a candidate on potential other projects. Yeah, then we move to the self-service part of employee, where we have an overview. Everything we do is in communities. So in communities, we have the employee self-service, where an employee can manage his own file. He can see the vacancies which are open and vacant and where he's matched on. The job applications internally or externally, internally or on projects where he applied on that he wants to work on. He can see his salary and his time entry. The same works for the customer part. So if we place somebody on a project, the customer or the manager can see exactly which employees, what timesheets they have, what the rates were, what the invoices are, and we can communicate that exactly on the same way through the communities. So the manager or the customer can see exactly which persons are working on what projects and what the rates, invoices, and timesheets are they have to apply on, and other things. This is a bar where we can drag and drop every action, every object in from employee. Any questions?
Well, I think for now, all clear.
I don't hear anybody.
No, I think if there are no questions, then we can continue.
Okay. When we Oh. So. Where did I? Hello.
Yeah, otherwise maybe you can
yeah.
what you try to show.
No, what I wanted to show is the organizations, so we can work with the organization chart internally with the employees. We can have the positions where we can move positions from in the organization chart. We can change people from different jobs in the organization and to other organizations. Yeah, I was following my process, which I had here, and I think I touched everything, unless I missed anything.
Okay, no, I think it was all clear. So as you can see, it's a huge system, everything around Salesforce and Financial Force, and then including a module like HR. So I think for everybody joining the webinar, and obviously, if you would like to know and get more details and understanding of how it works and can work together with the other elements, we're always happy, of course, to give a far more in-depth demonstration.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I have a yes about payroll. Is there anything for payroll? Because we have employees all over the world, but not too many, so it's not worth for us to buy everywhere a separate payroll system. Is there any payroll function here?
No, what we do, we have the time management and time registration combined with the absence, where we have a time management overview, where we have exports to every payroll system, which we provide now and we connect to in 17 countries.
Okay, so you have a cooperation with a payroll company.
We have system. Cooperations with payroll systems. I don't know which one you're working with, and it depends on the way we need to connect to them.
Okay, so the data can. Okay, I will. If I need, I will get more details. I just wanted to know. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a good question. It's a good question, and we've seen initiatives for, let's say, companies in the past who try to create one generic kind of payroll service, and all of those initiatives failed because it's per country so specific and can be so complex that we also made the decision to have a hard cut, but to make it very, let's say, a very lean and robust process where, like Roel said, with the export capability and then connecting to your local payroll provider, it's still one seamless operation, but the complexity of your local legislation, so to say, is then handled by your payroll local payroll provider.
Yeah. So the goal of employees is to send gross information to your payroll provider, but we manage all your labor agreements per country, where we can have an overview of all the details of normal time, overtime, expenses, additional costs, social costs, so we can send that information gross to your payroll provider, so they only have to do the calculations to net salary.
Okay, thank you. That's nice.
All right. Looking at the time, we have a couple of minutes remaining, so please give a shout out if you have a burning question.
Hi, I typed a question in the chat. I don't know if you're following.
Yeah, I can see the chat here.
Okay, then it's more clear.
So the question in our case is even more complex. First, number of hours on top, go to flex time pool.
Yes, so we have a flexi time pool. So the first additional hours on top of the normal work calendar are booked into this flexi-time pool without any approval. If it's beyond a certain threshold, then it needs to be approved so that it goes into the pool. And then, of course, the employee can ask for compensation, and it will be deducted from this pool.
And then the question, which country are you based?
Switzerland.
Yeah. The flexi time, we manage that for more companies, also for companies in Luxembourg. So also with the flex time working from home from other countries, or we manage that through the employee schedules, where we can manage what they can work and what they can work internally and what they can work, what they need to work in the office, for example. The registration of the time will be by the candidate itself, and also in the labor agreement and in the company schedules, we calculate if they are working according to the flexi time. So for example, Luxembourg, you work in Luxembourg, but you're from Belgium, you only can work 30% out of Belgium, but in Germany it's 25 hours, I think, 25%. So we can do those different calculations for the flexi time.
Okay, so it's easy to keep a balance of these additional hours and deduct it when employees book.
Yes, and you will have an announcement when people are crossing the maximum of their home working time, for example.
Okay, okay. Good. Thank you. It's clear.
Okay. All right, then I think we're okay with the questions raised in the chat box.
Actually, I have one more question. There is also the possibility to track time in PSI, I believe. So if at the moment we, in the scope of the current project, we just have PSI, but we are considering to extend it and have the employee. So obviously then the time tracks entered in the employee would flow to the PSI without any issues, right?
This is exactly the same platform. So we will, the time entry employee will do the personal time of an employee. So we will do the calculation for salary and stuff like that. The same time will be entered to PSA, so they can track time on the project.
Sorry, I didn't get it. Is it the same process, or does the employee has to type in twice?
No, there will be one entry point for time.
Okay, and then in PSI there is a decision if you, of course, you want to bill the same amount of hours as the employee has entered, and it's like a decision point, right? Where for example, the employee typed 10 hours, but we have a cap with a specific customer where we can only charge 8 hours a day. So then there is like a second step where we decide that from the 10 hours entered in employee, only 8 will be charged.
I know that from the employee part, we can enter that. We can say that. I don't know what the settings are on the PSA part, but Matt, you can answer that probably.
Yeah, I can try to. So yeah, if you're entering the time into PSA, we can set some logic around how those are split and what becomes billable and non-billable, and if we can roll up all of the time and push that into employee, which I think would be relatively easy, we can handle that. And obviously then employee does the calculations around the time actually worked. So you'd use PSA for your project billing, and you would use employee to track all of the time related to the employee.
Okay, thank you.
But it would just be you just enter it once, and yes, we can just share the information across the object.
Clear. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, then looking at the time, we just passed 10 o'clock. So if there are any further questions, please send your questions via email, or have a request for an additional, let's say, demonstration, more in-depth demonstration, which is also, of course, possible. So I would like to thank everybody for joining this webinar, and hopefully we will meet and greet in the next webinar that we will organize. Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.